Just to be sure, there's a spoiler. Although Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage brought back Meemaw's gambling storyline from Season 1, it's time for the Young Sheldon spinoff to retire this tired plot. By Young Sheldon's finale, Meemaw appeared to have turned a new leaf. Sheldon and Georgie's grandmother was caught running an illegal gambling room with Georgie's help, and the pair barely avoided jail time thanks to Georgie's limited role as an accomplice and Meemaw's advanced age. The experience still shook Meemaw, who seemed as if she was ready to swear off her life of crime. However, this turned out to be wishful thinking. Although Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage season may second take her story in an entirely new direction, Season 1 of the spin-off proved that Meemaw hadn't changed at all despite her brush with the law. If anything, her love of running an illegal gambling business seemed to be strengthened by the experience, considering all the trouble she went to so that she could revive her business in Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 1. Now, this plot must finally come to an end. Welcome to Movie Spy. Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 1 brought back Meemaw's gambling problem. Season 1 of the spin-off replicated this Young Sheldon plot. In episode 14, A Sportsbook and a Breakup, Mandy discovered that Meemaw was running an illegal sportsbook that bet on local high school sports. At this stage, Meemaw was keeping this a secret from Dale, and she gave Mandy a cut of the action by getting her to take bets on a pager. Mandy was delighted with the money, but Georgie was worried by the risks attached to it. This threat was something Mandy felt she could easily dismiss, since Georgie spent years working at Meemaw's casino and never faced serious consequences. When Dale discovered the deceit, he broke up with Meemaw, but ended up tearfully asking her to take him back at the end of A Sportsbook and a Breakup. Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage's Meemaw plot then remained largely dormant until episode 19, Snitch vs. Deadbeat, wherein it became the locus of a major conflict between the Cooper and McAllister families. Meemaw put Georgie and Mandy through a lot with her sportsbook scheme, as Snitch vs. Deadbeat saw her use Mandy to threaten her father Jim over his debt to Meemaw. Eventually, Mandy's mother Audrey learned about the debt and threatened to tell the police about Meemaw's scheme, throwing her blackmail plan back in her face. This led to an all-out war between the families, ending with an uneasy truce when Georgie offered to pay off Jim's debt himself. The plot was a tense, unpleasant one that highlighted Meemaw's most mercenary side, proving she was more concerned about her own bottom line than the happiness of her grandson and the success of Georgie's marriage. Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 2 needs to give Meemaw a brand new story. Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 2 has few potential plots for Meemaw. Meemaw isn't the only Young Sheldon character whose Season 1 spin-off plot feels somewhat repetitive, but this is a uniquely major issue for her. Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 1's Missy story was effectively a repeat of her Season 6 and 7 arcs from Young Sheldon, wherein she pushed too far with her teenage rebellion, learned her lesson, and reconciled with her family. However, this worked because such patterns of behavior are relatable among teenagers who are finding their place in the world, and losing George Sr. inevitably led Missy to act out. In contrast, Meemaw's story from Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 1 didn't really work since it undid her Season 7 character development from Young Sheldon. After she was arrested, Meemaw appeared to have a genuine change of heart and disavowed her old ways. Meemaw appeared to grow out of her risky criminality in Season 7, even developing a meaningful bond with Octavia Spencer's stern parole officer Rhonda in episode 10, Community Service and the Key to a Happy Marriage. While Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage made George Sr.'s comeback possible, the show also undid Meemaw's character change. This was a shame since this reversion made Meemaw less likable and made her relationship with Dale sadder. Dale's depiction as a laid-back presence in the hectic Meemaw's everyday life was a welcome change of pace. But A Sportsbook and a Breakup portrayed him as a helpless pushover who couldn't stop her from restarting a scheme that was risky for Meemaw, her family, and Dale alike. This issue wasn't helped when the series finale failed to give Meemaw a more meaningful role in Season 2, even though there was an obvious opportunity to do so. How Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 2 can properly utilize Meemaw. Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage's Meemaw story undid Young Sheldon's ending. In episode 22, Big Decisions, Georgie was offered the opportunity to purchase Jim's tire store as his father-in-law retired. This was prohibitively expensive, resulting in Mary putting up her house as collateral and becoming the store's co-owner. While this guarantees Mary a role in Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 2, it is frustrating to realize that Meemaw should have loaned Georgie money to buy the tire store in the Season 1 finale. This would have proven that, in retrospect, Meemaw was justified in restarting her risky sports book betting business. Sadly, the spin-off didn't run with this twist. This means Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 2 doesn't have any other role for the character, since the end of her betting plot is overdue, but she has no other engaging storyline. Meemaw's chaotic antics have traditionally defined her role in both shows, as she is mostly either a supporting character in the plots of other Coopers or getting up to something criminal in her own storylines. Now, neither of these options is viable. It is no longer fun to watch Meemaw risk her future and her family's happiness with her criminal activity, but missing out on the chance to co-own the tire store robbed her of a more meaningful, redemptive Season 2 arc. Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage's Meemaw role is tough to picture heading into Season 2 since the spin-off has no clear path forward for the character. While the Young Sheldon spin-off can redeem her, it is tough to guess just what Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 2 will turn Meemaw's story into as the show progresses. Thanks for watching.